You gotta watch yourself. Many of us are living out the lives of other people, living out their conclusions, living out of their consciousness.
If you don't know, now you know. It's true. Your friends, family, and loved ones will be the first ones to try and talk you out of greatness. When you're ready to do something and try something new, that's out of your comfort zone, that's out of your norm. It's always the one you're dating, the one you're married to, the one that's in your family, your friends in your immediate circle, that will always try and talk you out of doing something special and significant. God didn't bring us in the world to do what's convenient. God didn't bring us in this world to be regular. God didn't bring us in this world to do the things that make us comfortable. My faith in God allows me to walk into bold and uncomfortable doors without having fear and rejection, without having fear of the word no. Do you know how many people have had visions, ideas, and huge career moves that they were about to make, and they allowed the word no to stop them from changing the landscape of their life and their family lives? So many people are afraid of rejection and the word no. It is the saddest shit I've ever witnessed in my life. So I no longer have fear of rejection. I no longer have fear of the word no. I no longer give power to the word no. I could care less about you rejecting me, disowning me having visions and ideas and you not seeing what I see. I see what's not there. Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible. I see what's not there. I have visions. My visions are bold and unapologetic. And if you don't get it when I show it to you, if you don't get it when I explain it, if you don't get it when I verbalize it and I go into details, guess what? It's your loss. Because guess what? These visions were God sent. And if visions are God sent, you don't ever give anybody the power over your visions. They don't belong to you. They were given to me from God. These visions were God sent. And if the visions are God sent, they don't belong to you. Nor can you take the energy or my beliefs out of the vision because you don't believe in the vision. Understand this, y'all. Don't be afraid to walk into the unfamiliar. Don't be afraid to do what's deep inside of you to do. If God was done with you, you wouldn't be here anymore. We've all lost friends and family and loved ones and homies that was innocent. For whatever reason, they're not here anymore. You're receiving this message because you're still alive and you're on Facebook. I'm telling you, stop being afraid of the unfamiliar. Boldly walk into the room with your head held up high. And if they don't get it, laugh about it. Don't disown your ideas because they're disowning your ideas. Don't lose confidence in your ideas because they don't have confidence in your ideas. Keep the faith, especially if your visions and ideas were God sent. He wouldn't have sent it to you if you wasn't supposed to be obedient to the vision and move on it. You got gifts, you got talents, you got capabilities, you got inventions, you got phone apps, you got all of these things that you need to unleash on the world. You don't have money, you may not have the financial resources, but don't allow your visions and ideas to be stifled because of what's in your bank account or not. When you have visions and ideas, you do any means necessary to get a hold of the investors and the people with all the money in the world who don't have your ideas to see to it that your ideas come to life.
You can't be distracted by things that are keeping you from your purpose. You don't have time to waste worried about what people think about you. Your time is too valuable to respond to every critic, every negative comment, try to convince people that you really are okay. Those are distractions. Everyone is not going to like you. Everyone's not going to accept you. Quit trying to convince someone to understand you that's determined to misunderstand you. Some people don't want to be for you, and that's okay. You don't need them to fulfill your destiny. But the enemy would love for us to spend time and energy trying to win someone over that's never going to be won over. You have to set your face. The people that need to be for you will be for you. God has already lined up the right people. People that will celebrate you. People that will cheer you on. People that stick with you through thick and thin.
You know, one of the things that human beings underestimate dramatically is their capacity to get great at something if they're totally immersed in it. Totally laser focused on something. But as I've coached the very high-end athletes in my life, the top business people and entertainers, I can tell you that most people underestimate what total obsessive laser focused really is and what it looks like, because you are way more powerful than you know you are if you went crazy, psycho, obsessed, laser focused on anything, even something you're totally ill-prepared for. Humans have an unreal capacity to get great at things, even if they don't have a natural talent for it, if they're immersed in it, and to learn something and acquire a ton of knowledge in a short period of time as well. In other words, this is what I want you to understand. When you're laser obsessed focused, your obsession distracts you from what you're currently doing, not the other way around. You're not really obsessed with it if you're easily distracted from it. This is so important. You right now can test whether it's your obsession with whether it distracts you constantly. The first thing you think of when you wake up, last thing before you go to bed. When you have a big laugh, it comes up. When you cry, it comes up. When you're watching TV, it comes up. When you're doing your regular job, but it's your side hustle, it comes up. You can't stop thinking about it. It distracts you from the rest of your life. That's what an obsession does. When it's not really your obsession, the rest of your life distracts you from it. And so the it in your life is so important. But there's all these things that distract us today. I'm going to give you a recommendation. Turn your damn TV off. Turn the radio off most of the time. Turn your phone off a lot too. So here's the deal. The TV's competing constantly to distract you with stuff that really doesn't matter. And I'm not saying, by the way, don't be informed, don't know what's going on in the world, because that makes you more interesting, right? You should know what's going on in the world. But let's be real. Does it really matter what's going on with the Kardashians right now? Does it really matter? They live on my street in one of my neighborhoods, right? And they're very nice people, but I gotta be honest with you. What happens in their life doesn't dramatically impact mine, but how many people are more obsessed with the Kardashians? And I can say this as good friends. We have many good friends in reality television. They're even listening to this right now, and they would tell you this. Don't be so obsessed with them. Be obsessed with your own reality TV program called Your Own Life, right? How about the news? All the time they're trying to distract us. Before it was Obama, now it's Trump. Trump's going crazy today. Obama was nuts about this. Healthcare, Iraq, Iran, North Korea, right? Like all these things. And most of these things don't impact our own lives. I'm not saying don't know about them, but it's such a convenient escape from the work. It's such a convenient escape from our obsessions. The left against the right, Republicans against Democrats. Who's going to be the next president? Who's going to get the Democratic nomination? Can they beat Trump, right? Who cares? Who cares right now? You got to win in your own life. It's like, when I say this, people say, well, that's not, a very professional, evolved opinion. I'm just telling you what it takes to win. What it takes to win is not worrying about all that stuff. That should be the background noise. But talking about it, thinking about it, watching TV about it. Who cares what's going on in the real whatevers of anywhere? Who cares what the Kardashians are doing? Who cares who's running for office now? You say, well, wait a minute. Aren't you socially conscious? Here's all I know. I've been alive through many different presidents, Republican and Democrat. None of them changed my life. You winning in your life is what changes it. So tune out the distractions, will you please? Turn your TV off. Get focused in your own life. Invest those hours on podcasts like this that actually impact your life. Invest it on someone's social media like mine who's actually putting out messages about your life. And by the way, I say this as somebody who has many of these people on my show. Many of these people that you admire are friends of mine, as many of you know. There are things to learn from them. Absolutely, they're at the top of their craft. But I'm not deluded into thinking a top NBA player is any better a person than a top school teacher or a top nurse. I don't think a top politician is a superior human being over a top landscaper or a top banker or a top entrepreneur. I think the people at the top of everything, there's things to learn from. And guess what the people at the top of everything have in common? They're obsessed on their own lives, not other people's. Those athletes you admire didn't get there by worrying about your life, did they? And so tune out the distractions in our lives. Turn the TV off. Get some perspective. Get obsessed. Because we do it because it's an escape, because we don't have to look at ourselves. I'm challenging you to look at yourself. But they take your time. They divert your focus. Can you get obsessed on one thing? What other things divert our focus? The things in life that don't matter. Our own negative thoughts, our own insecurities, our own weaknesses. These distract us. Failure distracts us. Gossiping of other people distracts us. Talking about other people. Worrying about haters. Getting caught up in things that don't matter in our life. Drugs and alcohol distract us. There's all these things. When you start to pile them into life, what's your distraction? Just be honest. Is it living vicariously through your children? Is it living through them and their soccer team and their little league and their grades? Are you distracted by living through your children? Are you distracted by ESPN? Are you distracted by movies, Netflix, video games, gossip, haters, Fox News, CNN, right? Your problems. Are you distracted with things that don't matter in your life? There's all these things competing to get you to not be focused. How about your insecurities? How about your fears? How about your worries or your problems? Are you using all of these? Do you your relationship issues, does it distract you from your big goals? Do you let these things, do you almost willingly do it? Here's what I think. Most of us are willing participants in our own distraction. And we need to be willing participants in our own focus, in our own obsessions, and getting ourselves back on plan. Because remember what I told you, if you're really obsessed, the obsession will distract you from these things. But if you're not obsessed, these things will distract you from that thing. And this requires self-auditing on your part. And so that's the part one that I think steals more dreams than almost anything in life right now, is this obsession with distraction. It's the obsession with other people think about us. It's all of these things competing, except the one thing that matters, the one thing. But the best of the best, listen to me, the one thing dominates their life. The reason some of the athletes I work with have a hard time when they retire, can I be honest with you? Because they were so great at what they did, because they were so obsessed on that one thing. When that one thing is gone, they don't know what to do with themselves with all these distractions now. Because the best at everything don't live with distraction, they live with obsession and focus. I'm not saying don't be a complete person. But I'm saying for you to complete your journey towards maxing out, for you to completely max out your life, you must eliminate all of these things that take you by the wayside.
Now, here's the next important part, and that's emotions. Human emotions are powerful. They are so powerful that any one of them can have a dramatic effect on your life in a single day. However, make this careful note. Emotions are tricky. They can go either way on you. Emotions can build or destroy, weaken or strengthen, make or break. It all depends on how you use them. We call civilization the intelligent management of human emotion. That's it. The power, given an intelligent direction and objective, can accomplish spectacular things. The power, the feelings, those surges of heart and soul. What are they? What can they do? Well, here are some. First, disgust. Disgust is a powerful emotion. Disgust says, I have had it. Hey, that could be the day that turns your life around. That's what I said the day that little Girl Scout came to my door. I give her the big lie, she leaves, and I say to myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I've had it with being broke. I've had it with being embarrassed, and I've had it with lying. What a day. A life-changing day. The day when you've had it. And whether it's something major or something small, the day you can say enough is enough. That could be the life-changing day. The man has finally had it with being a loser. He's had it with mediocrity. He's had it with those awful sick feelings inside. Knowing his wife is at the grocery store looking at 2 cans of beans, one marked 69 cents and one marked 67 cents. The man knows his wife is going to buy the 67-cent can, and she doesn't even like the brand. Know why she's going to buy the 67-cent can? To save 2 cents. The man sick inside says, I've had it with being on my knees in the dust looking for pennies. We are not living like this anymore. Look out. That's the day. The I've had it day. The never again day. The enough is enough day. Powerful. Hey, nothing is so life-changing as a powerful disgust. And there's probably nothing so pitiful as a mild disgust. The man says, I kind of think I've had it. How sad. Not powerful enough for life change. Now here's the second emotion, decision. Decision-making is emotional. Those knots in the pit of your stomach, waking up in the middle of the night, lying there in a cold sweat, trying to decide. We sometimes call it inner civil war, conflict, battle of the mind, heart, and soul. It's emotional, it's powerful, and critical. It sets the course or blinds the course. It sets the mind or leaves us helpless, drifting, not being able to make up our mind. Well, for progress, we must decide. Come to grips with the surges, the tides, the conflict. The best advice I can give you is, if it's easy, do it easy. If it's hard, do it hard. Just get it done. If after listening to this program you cleaned up a whole list of decisions, that might furnish enough inspiration for the next 10 years. And I might add, sometimes getting on with it is easier than deciding. Sometimes deciding is the toughest part. But once you have waded those waters, you can climb the mountain. Deciding is truly the day that turns your life around.
See, the more you give to life, the more you're able to get from life. See, most of us go through life, ladies and gentlemen, feeling that we don't have enough to share, feeling that we will be depleted if we give of our resources, because we don't see ourselves connected to the abundance of life. I feel very strongly that we can make an incredible difference in life. Phyllis Marx said, giving empowers you because taken to its ultimate, what you are really giving is love. Love is the motivating force behind the infinite supply of universal energy. Love truly makes the world go round. And as with anything circular, it's going, keep coming back. Phyllis is right. So as she continues to give love and hope to these people, she receives love and hope for herself, and helping to begin to restructure and redesign the kind of life that she wants. We all have had experiences in our lives that if we permit these experiences to do so, we will allow them to weigh us down. If we permit them to do so, they will be luggage that will be dragging through life, holding us down, stifling our potential to give and to contribute in life. If we continue to carry all of these things, we can never be open to the love and the abundance and the opportunity that life has to offer us, because we are so full with what we've got. I'm thinking about an exhibition that was held in Africa where they were trying to catch some monkeys that were a very rare species. And because they were so fast, so agile, and very fragile, they did not want to harm them. And in catching them, they did not want to hurt them physically. So what they did in order to catch them, they found that these monkeys were very fond of a certain kind of nut that grew in that particular area of Africa. And what they did was that they put these nuts inside of bottles and put a rope on the bottle and held the rope from a distance. And so the monkeys would come and, being curious, see the nuts inside the bottle, would reach in and pick the nuts up. Now, what happened was that they couldn't pull their hands out with the nuts still in the bottle. And so then the exhibitioners, the hunters, would come while the monkeys are there just jumping around. All they have to do now is let the nuts go. That's all they got to do is they're just dancing all around. All they have to do is let it go, and they can be free and run. They hold it on to the nuts, and the people come and catch them. And a lot of us, that life is kicking our butt, and all we have to do is let it go. We just keep holding on like we crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, giving creates energy in ourselves and in others. Have you ever helped a blind person go across the street, or help a senior citizen, or give somebody some help? Just held a door for somebody, an elevator. I mean, don't you have a good feeling inside, like, I done good? How many of you get a good feeling inside when you do something good for somebody? See, we're really giving to ourselves. See, that's really the law. When you are giving to yourself. That's who you're giving to. So you want to give yourself some good gifts. There's a principle underlying the concept of giving. The energy flowing through us as we do, that love generates abundance in our lives, and we are able to reap so much from life as a result of our giving. How are you giving up your life?
When God said enough, I checked it on my watch, and I saw that God had a time to bring me out of my weeping. God has a time already set aside. Didn't you hear the bell ring? Did you not hear that alarm go off? Did you not hear that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes bing in the morning? Do you not know that God has a win? God had a point in their suffering in Babylonian captivity that God said, that's enough. I'll let you be drug out of your own land. I'll let you be drugged down and shackled like animals. I'll let your men be castrated and your men be raped, your women be raped, and I'll let you weep by the willow trees. And I did nothing to stop it, but I did keep my eye on the watch. And when the Lord turned again our captivity, the writer here, when he writes about the Lord turning our captivity, he does not have access to all the things that God had to do to turn their captivity around. The fall of Babylon denotes the end of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. After it was conquered by the Archamian Empire, it was conquered. Wait, I want you to see this. The people who conquered Jerusalem got conquered. See, the Archimedes were Persians. They were nomadic Persians that after 70 years of Babylonian captivity, they came in and conquered the conquerors. See, sometimes God's got you on hold because he's getting another group ready to come in and deal with your enemies. God has a way of getting justice out of the chaos in your life. And the Babylonians were sitting around bragging and poking fun and telling them to sing and dance for us. And while they were playing with them, God was raising up the Persians to overthrow the empire. In 539 BC, God said, enough. And all of a sudden, everything began to change. And God used a young man who was the son of a princess to come in. The young man was Labasha Marduk. And he comes in, and God uses him to wreak havoc. And the Babylonians, who thought they couldn't be brought down, got brought down. Listen, America, be very careful. The Babylonian Empire came down. The Roman Empire came down. The Kushite Empire came down. Don't you get high-minded and think that we cannot come down. We got to be careful what we let go on and what we let happen in this country, because it is possible. History teaches us that kingdoms fall. Nations fall. Empires crush. The Babylonians thought they couldn't be taken. They thought they were bad, but the Persians came up and they brought the whole empire down. Babylon, not Babylon. Babylon's name goes back to the Tower of Babel, but God still brought them down. Not Babylon. Babylon comes out of the Old Testament, Mesopotamia. The new word we would have would be Iraq. Not them, but God brought them down.
confidence. Where do you get your self-confidence? You can't buy it at the store, folks. You can't dress it up. You can't eat it. You can't buy it. You can't even manufacture it yourself. You have to go build self-confidence. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, okay? Because I remember being 25 years old, scared to death of people. 29 years old, started my speaking career, terrified of the people I had to go to. Didn't call on anybody for a year because I was literally frozen in fear. And one day somebody said something to me, dude, you need to handle your self-confidence issue. So I went and bought a suit, and I didn't feel any better. I went and bought a car, didn't feel any better about myself. I mean, I felt a little better for a second. Look, self-confidence is the only outfit you can't buy. This is an inside job. You got to study, you got to learn, you got to practice, and you have to do the hard things. Self-confidence comes from repeating experiences that are difficult. Same place courage comes from. You know, the guy that does something that's courageous is given the title of being courageous. It's not because he went and wore courageous. It's because he went and did something. Look, if you want to build self-confidence, you can listen to the subliminal tapes. It's not going to work. You can go do hypnotism. It's freaking ridiculous. You need to be more aware, more alert, and you need to do more. Some of the ideas that people are throwing at you guys right now to build your self-confidence, you're going to eat different and feel better. You're going to do this and feel... Look, you need to get in front of people. Do the things you're scared to do to get the self-confidence you want to have. Period. It's not on sale. It's not at Bloomingdale's, Macy's. It's not at Toyota. It's not on the radio. Dude, it's an inside job. I can't help you with it. You got to take what I'm giving you in these blurbs, blabs, streams, scopes, cats, whatever you're calling it, the posts, the streams, the Instagrams. Hey man, I need to take that and start applying it in my life. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself feeling worse and worse and worse about yourself. You want to go walk on fire? Go do it. Is that going to build your self-confidence? I doubt it. Okay, I doubt it, man. Go spend $8,000 on a weekend. That will not improve your self-confidence. The only thing I know for sure that will change your sense of self is the actions you take getting in front of other people. Other people. People you don't know. People you're scared to talk to. You're sitting there trembling. Do your pitch until you don't tremble anymore. Self-confidence, an inside job. It's not a suit you put on. It's not a car you drive. This is not something you buy. This is something you develop.
When you just begin to do the things you tell yourself you're going to do, you begin to build self-confidence, which is this reputation with yourself. So ask yourself a question right now. What is one thing right now, one promise I can make to myself that I'm going to begin to keep starting this minute and begin to do it? It could be how often I'm going to pick up a book and read it. But you begin to stack things you commit to do, and then you deliver on them and you acknowledge them to yourself. You're in the process of building self-confidence. Why is that so important? Of all the athletes I coach, when my athletes are performing at their peak level, they're at their highest self-confidence level. In fact, I love when I watch some of the athletes I coach get interviewed and they kind of do this aw shucks, humble routine in their post-game interviews. Yeah, you know, just part of the team, you know, I could have done a lot better today. But inside, I know these people are incredibly self-confident people. Any of you athletes listening to this, you know this. The great athletes you know have incredible amounts of self-confidence. You have to believe in you when it's a battle, when you're a hitter against a pitcher, or when you're a quarterback against a defense, or you're a defenseman in the NHL against their best offensive player, or you're a golfer and you have to make a 9-foot putt to win a tournament, right? You better have self-confidence. In fact, the separator, more often than not at the highest level in sports, is not they're a better shooter or a better putter or throw the ball a little bit faster, because everybody throws hard in the major leagues nowadays, it seems, right? That separators their self-confidence. It's true in being a parent. It's true in being a business person. It's true in every area of our life. The separator at the top levels is self-confidence. So now you have that first thing that you're going to commit to, that you're going to deliver on. Now, what I would ask you to do, that now that you've done that, is if you really want to build self-confidence, can you begin to extend that list of 5, 8, and 10 things that you are going to begin to do, that you commit to you, that you're going to do every single day to begin to stock that self-confidence? There's also this misconception from people that you are certain things, meaning some people have this misconception that I am what I possess. In other words, I am my possessions. And so they link their self-confidence to their possessions. And so they're constantly trying to acquire more and more possessions, thinking that's where they get their self-confidence from. That's how they're defined as a person. I am my possessions. Couldn't be further from the truth. It's a hollow way to try to gain self-confidence by possessing things. Nothing wrong with going for material possessions. I have all kinds of them. But I don't link my confidence to those possessions, nor am I deluded into thinking if I could just possess more things, then I'll feel better about myself. So this is a mistake. There's a flawed thought. Number one flawed thought, I am my possessions. Second flawed thought, I am my accomplishments. In other words, my self-confidence is only linked to what I accomplish. So because I haven't accomplished certain things, I don't have that certain title, that certain award, that certain recognition, I don't believe in myself. I'm riddled with self-doubt. I'm defined by my accomplishments. The difficult thing about that is now all your life you're going to have to accomplish more and more and more in order to feel self-confident and eliminate self-doubt. You are not your accomplishments. You are not your possessions. You are you. You are perfect. You are beautiful. You were born to do something great with your life.
Where does self-confidence come from? And this is the best advice I can give you on that. Not neglecting, first of all, the small daily disciplines. Self-confidence really comes from feeling good about yourself. And one of the best ways to feel good about yourself is at the end of the day to know that you poured it on. You did your best. If you conducted a meeting, you did the best you could. If you made a phone call, it was the best phone call you could possibly make. If you wrote a letter, it wasn't a casual letter, it was your best letter. At the end of those kind of days, when you feel good about yourself, self-confidence starts to rise. You know that if you can have this kind of a good day, you can have another one the next day, and those days become the weeks become the months, and the month becomes a powerful year. Self-confidence comes from the lack of neglect. If you will not neglect to do the small daily disciplines, that's where self-confidence comes from. Part of good health is self-confidence. I know I'm going to be healthy. I take the Herbalife products. I eat the apple a day. I walk around the block. I do the jogging on the beach. At the end of the day, when you've really poured it on and you've done all the stuff, self-confidence grows. That self-confidence affects your health, it affects your future, it affects your psyche. So this is true. One of the great powers is self-confidence. Self-confidence means willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve. Some people say, well, I'll do it for a little while and see what happens. You know, I'll try a couple of things. If that doesn't work, I'm out of here. And all of us know that that kind of person doesn't have much of a future. But if you're willing to do whatever it takes, if I have to learn a couple of things, I will learn those things. If I got to learn 5 or 6 things, I'll learn all 6. If I have to take an extra class, I'll take an extra class. If I've got to read the books, I'll read the books. If I have to consult with people who know more than I know, I will do the necessary consulting. Whatever it takes, I will do. That starts to develop unbelievable self-confidence. Self-confidence also comes from the ability to rise above your circumstances. To rise above what happens, the petty little things, the discouraging things that would sink everyone else's ship except yours, that would cause someone else to quit early in the day, but you keep going. That kind of willingness to overcome all circumstances, whether it's the little challenges or the big challenges. If you're willing to do that, I promise you, this kind of power will work for you, and in you, the variable, it'll make a difference.
I want you to remember this as well. There's a power to the way we use the 2 B's, our brain and our body. See, self-confidence can also be a state, a physical state. It's very difficult when you're moving your body, sitting up straight, breathing deeply, right? You're in that physical, strong state of being, right? Right after a workout, during a workout is when we feel our most confident because our body's at a peak state. One way to generate self-confidence is to move your body into a strong state of being. Move your body. Literally, movement creates confidence. If you think about some of the peak times of your life, whether that be the fun time you may be having having with your partner physically, intimately, or laughter, or peak performance running, right? Or your great accomplishments. Yes, there's a commonality of the way our body is moving at that time. If you think about the times when you're the least confident, it's usually when you wake up in the morning, isn't it? It's the most down, the most fearful, the most anxiety, or before you go to bed at night. These are two times most people experience the most amount of self-doubt, is right before bed and right when they wake up. Isn't that interesting? One of the reasons is because of how we're moving. We're laying down, we're hunched over, our breathing is shallow, there's no physical movement whatsoever. This creates a state of self-doubt right before we sleep, right when we wake up. Or if you're just kind of depressed or sick, self-doubt starts to kick in, doesn't it, right? If you ever had an injury and you couldn't move like you'd like to, that stagnation of the body begins to create self-doubt and strips us of our self-confidence. So moving our body is a gateway to self-confidence. And then our brain as well. We have to take control of our thoughts. We have to scratch the negative ones when they come in and replace them with great ones. Now, I don't believe self-talk works all the time, but I believe saying, I am strong, I am good, I intend, I'm a good man, my intentions are pure, I'm a good person, I make a difference in the world, I'm kind, I'm gentle, I'm generous, I'm strong, I'm faithful. Beginning to repeat these thoughts to myself, and these words do generate self-confidence. I keep the promises I make to myself. I'm a man of my word. Begin to talk to yourself and think these thoughts. When you combine your brain and your body, you scratch the self-doubt, you lose those 4 stupid beliefs. I am my accomplishments, I am my possessions, I am what other people say I am, or I am what I look like. These are completely flawed beliefs. We scratch those. We scratch them. We understand the process of stacking self-confidence in our life. We know we are the content of our character. And lastly, give yourself some credit. Will you please? And I'm going to tell you where to give yourself credit. And that is in the area of your intentions. A lot of my confidence comes from the fact that I keep the promises I make to myself. I know my self-doubt are thoughts that were given to me when I couldn't even defend myself as a young little boy. I know that I'm not my accomplishments. I know I'm not my possessions. I know I'm not what I look like. And I know I'm not what other people say I am. I understand the process of building self-confidence. I scratch the negative thoughts in my life. But I can tell you this, the last place I get my confidence from is my faith and my intentions. See, I know I intend to do good. Not enough of you are giving yourself credit for your inherent goodness. And I mean this. You're special in that regard. You're perfect in that regard. Just ask yourself, what are your intentions? As an individual, as a man or a woman, do you intend to do good in the world? Do you intend to want to help people? Do you intend to be a light in people's lives? Do you intend to make a difference? Do you want to live a good life where you've helped change the world and change other people's lives? Have you ever just asked yourself that? Do you? Because if the answer to that is, I don't spend enough time thinking about how good my intentions are. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to do bad things. I don't want to take advantage of others. I really intend to do good. You know what? You need to give yourself more credit for the power of your intentions. There's a power in life of giving ourselves credit just for the intentions we have. Just ask yourself that. There's 2 types of people in life. There's the people who intend to do harm, to take advantage of people, to cheat, to cut corners, to cause hurt to others for what they think will be their own gain. Then there's people who want to be a light. They want to make a difference. They want to help. They want to contribute. They want to be somebody. They want to honor their God. They want to make a difference in the world, and their intentions are good. Too often in life, people with great intentions don't give themselves credit for how beautiful and wonderful those intentions are. And so today, just take this inventory of all the things that are wonderful about your intentions. And then just take an inventory of your faith. As a person of faith, I know that I'm favored. I know that God wants me to do good in the world. I know that I was made in His image and likeness. There's a power to that. There's a comfort to that. There's a confidence that comes from that.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control, where we inspire and motivate you. Hope you enjoy the video.
That's major time. And if you took a look, if you're in sales and you took a look at a week, you'd say, my gosh, I'm spending 90% of my time on the minor stuff and so little time on the major stuff in the presence of. How many hours in the presence of in my day? How many hours in the presence of during my sales week? Because the time that really counts is in the presence of. majors and minors. Here's another key time management essential. Don't mistake movement for achievement. It's easy to get faked out by being busy. Guy comes home at night all exhausted, falls in the chair and says, oh, I've been going. Here's the big question. Doing what? It's not the going. Some people are going, and they're doing figure eights. Their progress is small. So don't mistake movement for achievement. Here's another one in sales we learned. Don't mistake courtesy for consent. If somebody's pleasant and they nod, you say, oh, they're going to buy. No, they're courteous. You can't mistake courtesy for consent. Now, here's a big one, concentration. I had to learn this. All those years ago, I'm in the shower trying to compose a letter. Found it turns out to be a strange letter. So here's what I learned to do. Save the work till you get to the office. Save the work till you get to the work. Don't try to get to the office on the way to work. On the way to work, enjoy the way. In the shower, enjoy the shower. Then go to work when you get to work. I found this to be helpful. Concentration. Here's another big one. Learn to say no. I'm telling you, in such a social society we have now, it's so easy to try to be a nice person, saying yes to everything. Find yourself overloaded. Now you got to call and make the, well, gosh, you know, all the time it takes to back out of something that you said yes to too quickly. Here's what might be better. I don't think so, but if that changes, I'll call you. Little things you can use not to overcommit yourself. My friend Ron Reynolds says, don't let your mouth overload your back. It's a good one. Now here's a big one on time management. When you work. When you play. Don't mix the two. Don't work at play. I used to take my family to the beach and I would bring my briefcase. I learned not to do that. Or at the beach, I'm saying I should be at the office. Now my family's upset because I'm at the beach and I'm thinking office. Now when I'm at the office, I'm thinking what? I got to get my family to the beach. So things are not going too well at the office because I'm thinking beach, and things are not going too well at the beach because I'm thinking office. Here's what I learned to do. At the beach, be at the beach. At the office, be at the office. When you work. When you play. Don't mix the two. Don't work at play. Now here's one of the most important ones. Don't play at work. Work is too serious. You don't want the reputation of being the office joker. It's not a good one. Yes, there's time for some pleasant stories. Yes, there's time for a little humor. Yes, best if it's a happy office, of course. But I'm telling you got to be serious about work because you're parting with a piece of your life for the work you do. Your work costs you a piece of your life. Here's what it's called. Serious business. Not grim, not unhappy, but serious. See, don't play at work. The old expression, I don't think we use it anymore, horse around at the office. Play around, play jokes, play tricks. No place, not at the workplace. At the beach, yes. At the bar, yes. Not at work. You've got to treat work with all due conservative passion. Because it's leading you to your future. Here's another key phrase, all work is good. You may not like your job, but if it's the stepping stones to get you to where you want to go, you've got to appreciate your job. You don't have to have a passion for your job. Here's the ultimate passion, a passion for incredible success in every department of my life. That's the passion. But don't look down on some menial job you have to do to finally get you to where you want to go. No job is menial. No job is not, every job is noble. Training life for pay, making a contribution to society. Next, analyze how you are. And if you have some weaknesses, if you doesn't seem like you can change, here's the key, get it covered. I used to keep promising myself I'd keep the books. Finally, I gave that up. And back then, it only took me an extra $50, $60 a month for some accountant to keep the books. I said, no, I'm going to save the $50. You can't believe what I started losing in productivity because I tried to save the $50. So the key is, a lot of the time you can stay like you are, but just make sure you get it covered. Okay. Next, beware of the telephone and all other systems of communication, especially the telephone at home and systems of communication at home. And here's one of the best lines I've got for you for the weekend. Let all communication systems serve you, but don't let them intrude. When it comes time to have dinner with your family, you shut off all systems, unless the ones that can take messages silently. Don't let the phone ring. Don't let anybody intrude, come through the front door nor the back door, nor through the telephone or any other device. So you can't reach John and his family when he's having dinner. The President of the United States couldn't get through. If you develop that kind of a reputation, father, mother, when we have dinner, when we're visiting and have this time with our family, nothing intrudes. So don't let these clever little devices keep intruding. You've got to have a place that's sacrosanct, it's valuable. You don't let anything in for that period of time. So, isn't that good advice? Excellent advice. Here's the next one. Read all the books. You know, I've only got a few notes here on time management, but if you've got some particular challenges, you run a big organization, a big corporation, you've got some challenges, there's plenty of books. Now, here's what's next. Just be more alert to the things that might be stealing your time. Here's why. Time is like capital. You can't let someone steal your seed corn. You can't let someone steal your capital. And you can't let someone steal your time. You must designate your time. And some of the time that you designate, you must not let anyone steal. Casual time, you might let someone intrude and steal a little bit and take a little bit, but not serious time. Next. One of the great time management savers is to learn to ask questions up front. Sometimes you talk to somebody for an hour, and then you ask questions and find out if you would have asked those questions up front, you could have saved yourself an hour. Asking questions up front helps you to get to the problem now. But if you just launch into some discourse, you might waste 30 minutes, waste an hour, when here's what you should have been talking about. After you finished an hour, you say, John, what's really the problem? He said, well, it's something personal. See, that's what you should have been talking about this whole hour. Okay. Next, learn to think on paper. And we're going to take a break. Some ways to think on paper. One, we've covered one. Solving problems. Take it out of your head and put it on paper. Another one is setting goals. Making these lists we've already started. Here's another good way to think on paper. It's a projects book. Each person you're working with and each project you're working on, get a loose leaf binder and a tab and some pieces of paper behind the tab and do a little continual summary of how it's going between you and that person and between you and that project. I call it a projects book. It is so useful to me. But what's going on between you and this person? When you last got together, what did you talk about? And you got a few notes there. Here's what we talked about the last time we got together. Now when you get together again, you can review that so you'll know better what to talk about. When the president gets ready to travel and he's going to meet some important people, guess what they bring him? All these briefing books. Right? The last time you were with Khrushchev, Kennedy is informed. Here's what he said and here's what you said. Kennedy said, oh, that's valuable. I need to remember that. If a person is important, it's worth a little running account. You might even have a projects book for your children. Here's what's happening between me and my child. We've talked about this, and we've talked about this, and we've talked about this. Next, a day timer. Keeping track of all of your appointments. You know, mine is all filled with, when to catch an airplane and when to do a seminar and when to sit down and have a conference, all the rest. Next is a game plan. You know, if you've got a house and the insurance is going to come due and some other things are going to come due, you just put it on a spreadsheet and make sure it's taken care of. Key phrase, take things out of your head and put them on paper. And the key is to just experiment with different ways that helps you to do that. Now here's the last one, thinking on paper, and that's to keep a journal. One of the things I'm known for around the world, have been now for 39, 40 years, is keeping a journal. Now my journal is not it's not necessarily it's not like a diary. It might be part diary. You know, I'm flying over Ireland and I write down a few little things that impress me. Today I met this person. What an extraordinary event. Today I conducted this seminar in Rome. 1,000 people stood up and sang for me. I've got a little bit of a diary in there. But here's what primarily your journal is for. Collecting good ideas. A journal is to collect good ideas on your health, good ideas for your business, good ideas for your future, good ideas for time management. Because I used to take notes on pieces of paper and torn off corners and backs of old envelopes and restaurant placemats. And I threw all this stuff in a drawer. It did not serve me well. I finally learned to get a bound copy, right? And just keep a journal, right? If I was here, I had my journal, I'd be taking notes, right? These 2 days in my journal. Now, if you're caught without your journal, you just take the notes when you get back home. You put those notes in your journal, throw the paper away. Because we don't usually go through paper to review. But see, my journals now make up a significant part of my own library. My journal's all reserved privately for my children and my grandchildren. Can you imagine what I've collected over the years? It's unbelievable. There are 3 treasures to leave behind. I think you've already got those notes, right? Here they are. Number 1, your pictures. Don't leave the event unrecorded. It takes only a fraction of a second to say, here's who I was with. When I travel the world, right? We take all these pictures, and here's one of the gifts. People send me the pictures they took of me, them. It's part of the treasures I have on the farm. Incredible. A picture's worth 1,000 words to describe the scene, the emotion, what happened. Say, wow, this was an extraordinary day for me when I met these people. Here's what they told me happened to them when they went to my seminar 10 years ago. Wow, the drama comes back if you've taken the pictures. It's one of the treasures to leave behind when you go.
We'd like to thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.